Okay, this is Anwar Karim, and I'm going to introduce the OneDrive to you. I'm tagging this with Stacy. So OneDrive is a solution that came with our Office 365 several years ago. We have not officially promoted it until now. Think of it as your personal drive, not a departmental, not broadly college-wise used. It is your personal drive, and it is available to you from anywhere, anytime, in multiple devices. So today we're only going to talk about using it from your computer. Down the line, in coming months, obviously we will slowly have more complications around it. So OneDrive, your personal use. Think of it your extension of your My Documents or C drive in your computer. It's just on the cloud, and you have access to it from any internet connected machine just by logging into Office 365. Now, the storage is very large. It's 1 terabyte. That's pretty gigantic for any individual use, but it is also for your your work. So if you have, as you are going remote, and you're thinking of, oh my God, I have all this file in my computer, and I cannot take the computer with me. How can I access these files? Well, the answer to that is taking your files and uploading them into OneDrive. And I'll show you all my files that I care for are in OneDrive, and that's what I work for. I edit from there, I save everything there, I have my folder structured there, and I'll show you how that looks in your computer. Now, while you're working remotely, it won't look quite like that because your computer may be in the campus, but you can make work through this. Okay, so I have my screen open. Takesha is still sharing somewhere. We need to get that. Or maybe let's give me her connection, please. Give me her connection. Give me her computer connection.
Function as a virtual flash drive.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so if you log into your Office 365, you'll see that choice right here called OneDrive, right? So that's what we're talking about. So now for a moment, let's shift from Office 365 to your computer. If you think about your computer and your files, we generally think about our File Explorer. File Explorer is the little folder down at the bottom of your computer, the yellow little folder. When you open it up, you get the File Explorer open, and you have all your files or drives that you want to get to, your C drive, your My Documents drive folder, and so on, right? So most of us have our files probably in the My Documents and in some kind of file structure. So what you may have to do, or what you want to do in this case is that in your computer, you want to enable OneDrive. So OneDrive becomes a drive for your computer. So if you look on the left-hand pan, and if you have a Windows 10 machine, your machine or your PC is already configured for OneDrive. All you have to do is sign into it. So on the left-hand side, I hope you can see where my cursor is. It says OneDrive. If I click on it, it will come up with a screen like the one I have, and it will ask you to go ahead and sign up because the computer doesn't know, Office 365 doesn't know who you are. You need to provide that credential. So in this particular case, you will provide the same credential that you use to log into Office 365. So it will be your mymcid@montgomerycollege.edu, and you will click on the create account. It will take you through the authentication process just like you're logging into Office 365. It may go through the duo verification as well, and it will go through the process and configure your machine for the OneDrive. Once you have done that, you can treat this OneDrive marking here just like any other large folder or a C drive, or even if you have a U drive, you can consider that as your U drive, right? And you will be kind of set to go from there. Now you can take files from your machine and just drag or copy, depending on what you want to do. If you want to move them, you can drag them or copy them and paste them into OneDrive, and they will show up there. If you already are using OneDrive and you have files in OneDrive, they will automatically show up here once you go through the process. So this is kind of like a more permanent way of working from your machine. If you're using a laptop, you may want to set it up that way, and work from there. If you're using Windows 7 machine, this OneDrive icon will not be there for you. You will have to install the OneDrive application. So let me show you how you do that. So what you will do in that case is you will log into Office 365 and go to OneDrive. I'm already in OneDrive. And if you scroll down to the left-hand side of that screen, you will see it says Get the OneDrive app. And you will click on that and go through the process of installing the OneDrive app in your computer. And that is only for Windows 7 machine. We are kind of like half and half right now. Half of our machines out there are a little bit more than half of our machine are Windows 10, but there is still some Windows 7 lingering out there. And for that, you may need to download that app and install it. And once you go through that process, it's similar to what I have shown you earlier. You will go through the process of providing your credential, and then you will be connected. And in my personal machine, I'm using a general purpose machine here, so you don't see it in my file explorer. But here in Office 365 in OneDrive, you can see I have the traditional folders just like you would have in your computer, and I have it organized the way I like to have it. And again, of course, each one of us organize our files differently, and you can organize them any way you like, any way it works for you. So I'm going to pause here and see if you have any question related to what I have just shown, because there is a second part to it. Stacy is going to come on and show you how to work straight out of Office 365, how to upload files right out of Office 365, and how to use OneDrive in Office 365. So that's pending. I'll take any question you may have for things that I have covered so far.
So I'm watching you from my iPad, and I know from memory that on my laptop I have the OneDrive, and I've been using it. So what I want to understand is, if I were no longer to work with Montgomery College, for example, and I no longer have the 365 stuff, what happens to all of my files that I have been using and saving all the way up until now?
Same thing that happens to any files that you will have in your computer that is owned by Montgomery College.
So the OneDrive where I have been saving my files is owned by Montgomery College?
It is true. It is work related. It is not for personal use, for real personal. When I say was the personal drive, I mean it is OneDrive for business. It is for your work. Now, that doesn't mean, like in many of our computers, we have some personal files, right? So you can do that, but this is not for your home family use.
I understand.
Any data stored here is similarly owned by Montgomery College, like it would be in your desktop.
Okay, I don't want to be a butt. I just want to make sure I understand. So
No,
all the files that I have created, all the PowerPoint slides that I've created, all of the work that I have done for the past 4 years, you're saying that belongs to Montgomery College, it's not mine?
Well, it is yours from a point of view, but when you think of it this way, if someone to leave the college tomorrow, obviously they don't get to take the laptop or the PC home with them, right? And anything that's left behind is there. And process-wise, what we do is we take that machine, we rebuild the machine and redeploy it, right? So it is not any different from that perspective. If you left file in your PC, they get deleted. If you leave file here in Office, that account will be eventually completely deleted.
Wow. So right now on my personal laptop sits a OneDrive file full of just a lot of work. And you're saying that if I were to leave the university, all of that goes with it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And that's like any other workplace. So I don't want to dive into that discussion here. I can have that conversation differently. We can bring in our IT security and other conversation. So let's move. I would like to move off of that conversation. But frankly speaking, all your, anything that you leave in our devices, that they're there. I'm not saying that the university owns it, college owns it. That's a different, because there is other rights for the faculty. But yes, you will lose the access to OneDrive at that point, like you will lose the access to your PC. But that doesn't mean that your work is now owned by something. I cannot speak to that, because that has a completely different notation, and that is a different discussion. That's an academic discussion, right? So why don't we move off from that? That's really a broad discussion to have in academic area. Other question?
Yes. If you're working in OneDrive and you're using, like I use Visio a lot, and I know that's part of Office, but it's not normally a part of Office. It's not on 365. So would I have to take those files, put them on my desktop where I would work on my Visio files, and then put them back into the cloud or into OneDrive? Is that how it would work?
Actually, we need to do a little bit of testing. So and Stacy is going to show it to you. There are the built-in tools in Office 365 for the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and such, right? The Visio is not. But if you are using the traditional Explorer scenario, if you open up your Visio, for example, in your machine, and then you go to open, right? You go open and then find your OneDrive and find that file, it will open. It should open, and you should be able to work on it and just save. While you're saving it, it's saving it in OneDrive. It should work that way, regardless of the application that you are using. Now, you may not be able to natively use it in Office 365. So yes, if you're working at home and you're only accessing these files through the web browser, your Visio may have a little bit of issue because Office 365 doesn't have the Visio built in on the web solution.
Okay.
So in that respect, you are probably correct.
Okay, so in other words, then, if I need to work on it or even do something from scratch, I would work on it. I would download it onto my computer at home, work on it, and then put it back up into OneDrive. And that's how I would have to do it.
That is the potential. I think with Visio, that will be the case. But Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you can natively work in. It's not as complete as the full Word application, but it has most of the features. So you could potentially work online only through the browser on some of those documents.
Okay, yeah, but okay, all right. So Visio would be offline and then put it back on OneDrive.
Yeah, not having tested it, I would think that'd be the case.
The other option that you really would have, though, is if you're connected to your OneDrive, or if your OneDrive has been installed on that computer, when you go to save the Visio file, OneDrive should be there as an option, so you could just save the file straight to OneDrive if you wanted to.
I see. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Before I hand it over to Stacy, any other question?
Hey, Anwar, this is Nell.
Hi, Nell.
I just wanted to make a comment to everyone. This is Nell Feldman from IT Security, and as you're saving documents, if you're on your personal machine, if for some reason you're downloading something from OneDrive, if it's college data, especially if it has sensitive student information or business information, to try not to save it on your personal machine. If you have a college device, that's fine, but OneDrive is the place to save those documents. Just want everybody to be conscious to protect our data. Thank you.
Now, again, I know that there are a lot of faculty online here, but we're only talking about student or PII and sensitive data in that regard, not your creative work. Okay. All right. I'm going to pass on the baton to my colleague here by disengaging my share. It's gone away, right? Yeah. Okay. And Stacy is going to take over from here.
Okay, so just give me 1 second while I try to figure out which screen to share.
I'm sorry, one last question about OneDrive. Do PDF files work within it?
PDF.
Change the screen again.
That is a little tricky one. PDF should work in most cases, but there is a conflict between Adobe PDF versus the Microsoft Word related PDF. It may open in Word. Let me, while we're talking, let me try and see what happens with the PDF file. But like I said, I treat my PC and the OneDrive as one. And I'm also looking around in the room, see if my colleagues have tried anything. But I'm going to try it right now and let you know.
The reason I ask is when I distribute my the files, my Visio files, I have to convert them to PDF so that people can view them. So all I would be doing is converting them to PDF and then loading them into OneDrive.
So one thing for sure, if your machine has a PDF reader, that may get into engagement. So I just opened up a PDF file and it opened on the browser without looking for anything else. So it does.
Excellent. Thank you.
This is Moheb. I have a question about the OneDrive and Excel files. When I upload an Excel file onto OneDrive, and then when I want to bring it down and do some work, I don't seem to be getting all the different options that I get when the Excel is running on my desktop or on a laptop. So is there any way?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct, because if you just open it, it's using the Excel online version. So you could do one of the two things. And then what I tend to do is that I open it with the Excel online and it's not showing on, but it does give you an option to use the, up at the top, it will give you an option to open with the full Excel. So it will be, as the assumption would be that you have a full Excel installed in your computer already, right? And I'm assuming that for home computer, I'm not going to assume anything. If you do, you have that option to say, oh, open up with Excel. So that option should come up on the screen.
Oh, that's very good to know. And thank you, Karim. I didn't know that we had an option of opening it up with full Excel. Thank you.
But if you think of it, someone said that he or she is using iPad, right? iPad doesn't have Excel and so on, but you can still use iPad to do some minor correction, change and save it, or create a new Excel document and save it. Yes, you won't have all the benefit of the full Excel, but you can get some work done even if you don't have Excel Word in your iPad, for example. or even phone. I have used phone to create document in OneDrive. Not often, but I have.
Thank you.
Whenever you're
Okay,
ready.
ready? Okay. So what does everybody see? It says good afternoon, and you see a start new Outlook OneDrive.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
sees that? Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Stacy Ford. I'm the Accessible Technology Coordinator here at Montgomery College, and what we're going to go over next is this is the browser version. So when you log into the portal of Office 365, just a reminder, if you go to OneDrive and you scroll down to the bottom, if you do not see it, the OneDrive part in your file folder on your browser, where you see this, if you open up this folder down here, if you don't see it there, the bottom down here, get the OneDrive app. This is how you can get it. So that is where it's located. Now that I'm in the browser version, there's different things that you're going to see. On the left side navigation, you will see your files, the recent files you've been working on, files that are shared with you, and also your recycle bin. So let me just change, because I switched this earlier. You usually will see something along the lines like this. So if I go to new, you can create either a new Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, or like forms from Excel. So I'm going to create a new folder. And just in case, somebody accidentally deletes something, so I created a folder and now I'm going to delete it again. I'm right-clicking and deleting it. So anything to delete, you will see it in the recycle bin. So you can see the test folder. So if you accidentally delete something, that's where you can find it. And now there's different things you can do within the folders and your files in OneDrive. The first thing I'm going to go over is basically how to share something. So there's two ways to kind of share something. You could share a folder, or you can share a file. So let's say that you have 20 documents in a folder. You don't want to go into each individual file and share all of them at once. You might want to go to the file or to the folder level and share the whole folder. So that means anything in that folder will be shared. Now, how do I know if it's shared? On the right side, top right part of the navigation, you're going to see the eye in a circle, information icon. Each one of these, you're going to see what the status is of this. So this folder, this item doesn't have any, it has not been shared, but this OneDrive demo folder, this has been shared with a few people, and also you'll see a link right here. The link basically says that you've given that link to somebody, and that file folder has edit write access to whoever you sent it to. So,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
so that.
I'm sorry. Could you go back to the first thing that I would see that would tell me it has been shared? Because I've noticed the sunshine or sun rays that are on the statistics and that are on OneDrive demo. Those
Yes.
sunshine rays, what does that tell you?
I just made that these are pretty new files that I just created recently.
So that's new. The way to test if one of my files have been shared or uploaded onto the institutional Blackboard institutional files or whatever, how would I do that? You
Okay,
said go to where.
So what you want to do is you see these check marks next to the file folders?
Yes.
I'm going to select the folder or the file that I have that in question. And then I'm going to go over here to the top right corner, and you see this eye?
Yes.
Open the details pane if you hover over it. And when I click on there, it will open up basically more details information.
Gotcha.
And then you see this box with has access. This is what you want to look for. Now, if something is not quite right, you could always go to manage access. And then you can give access to other people as well.
Thank you.
I'm going to show a different way how to share files real quick before I get into this, because it looks almost the same. So I'm going to get out of there. Now, how do I share the files? I basically select the folder and then select share. You can also right click and you will also see share here as well. So you can do it two different ways. So if I go to share, I'm going to see a pop-up window. Now this pop-up window, there's a few options within there. As you tell, the default is anyone with the link can edit. So basically, here's the different ways you can give it to people. So anybody with the link can edit. People in just the Montgomery College EDU with the link. People with existing access, or very specific people. And if you don't want anybody to edit it, then you basically just unclick editing, allow editing. Now let's say that you only want to open up files for a certain period of time. It also has the ability to set an expiration date. So that is some of the features within Share. And then also what you can do, you can send the email address and put it through email, send it through email right here already. So you have the email address and you could add in message. You could either just copy a link and then paste it wherever you needed to put it. Or if you click on Outlook, it will open up an email Outlook window. I'm not going to open it up right now because it did something funky with the screens, but it will just open up like a new email in Outlook, and it will have the link already put into the body of the email for you. And just more manage access. Okay, so that's how you share files. Does anybody have any questions with that so far? Nope. Okay, so you know how when you went to share, there was a copy link? This can do the same thing. If you, like Mel said, if it's something sensitive, please don't download it to your machine if it's not a Montgomery-owned device, but you can download the file if needed. And then also you could delete, rename files like you can normally within a normal computer. So now moving files around in here is a little bit different though. You can move files and you can copy files to somewhere else. So let's say that you have a document that you want to keep the integrity of it. So you want to keep that file, but you want a copy of that file to be edited by multiple people. Then that would be one reason you use the copy to. And the move to file, that would be something to use if you want to reorganize, like maybe I want to put this file in a different folder. So for example, if I want to, I'll give an example. So statistics, what I want to do with this folder, I want to move that statistics. The destination is going to be my OneDrive because I want to put another OneDrive folder. And then I want to put this folder in my OneDrive demo. So I'm going to say, if I wanted a new folder, which already has a folder, but you could put one, just so you can see what it looks like if I create a new one. I want to move that statistics file into my OneDrive demo folder. So you can see it put that file into my OneDrive demo folder. And now because I put that into that folder, I shared that OneDrive demo folder with these people over here. So now that statistics file can be accessed by these people.
I have another question on the file folders. If I want to move one particular file from one file folder to another file folder, both in the OneDrive, what is the easy way to do it?
To use that move to. So just like I just did before, I want to basically, you want to find the file you want to move first. So let's say this is the file I want to move. I'm going to select that file.
I want to move a file within a folder to another folder.
Sure. So basically, you go into the file wherever it is. You select the file you want to move. And then you go move to. And then if it's in OneDrive, you're going to select the destination as your OneDrive. And you're going to find the folder where you want it to go. So let's say I want to put it in this folder. And then you just go move here.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
That makes sense? Okay.
What if you are working on Visio again? I'm sorry to bring up Visio again, but what if you are working on Visio and it has to be on your desktop of your computer? Can you just copy and paste it into OneDrive, and it's as simple as that wherever you want it?
You could actually, don't quote me on this because I bounce between PC and Mac. I don't know which one that definitely works, but I have dragged the files like that into OneDrive and it uploads.
Okay,
Another
so
way to upload the file, if you have it open, or you could, there's a couple different ways. You could actually just save to, if you have that file open, or if you saved it on your desktop, you could drag it into OneDrive. Does that make sense, or does that answer your question?
yeah, just basically drag and drop.
Yeah, you can.
Excellent, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so that goes back, okay, now when you're talking about uploads, that was one of the other things you can do. So you can upload different levels. You could either upload an individual file, or you can upload a whole folder. So what it looks like is basically if you select a folder, it looks at your computer and you just have to find the folder that you want to put onto OneDrive. Let's say I'm going to put my temp folder in there. And just take a folder, and you're going to notice that here's a status up here, uploaded 5 items to files. And then you could see the little, the 3 little lines to kind of indicate that this is a new item. And that's how long it took to upload it.
Okay.
Any questions so far with upload? No?
I want to talk a little bit about synchronization. If I have my original file on my desktop and I upload it onto the OneDrive, and then I change it on my desktop, would it automatically change the one on OneDrive, or do I have to upload it again?
Okay, on my device, it syncs up pretty quickly. And Andrew, if you can answer this as well, when they sync, sometimes they might take a little while, but if it doesn't,
There's ways that you can manually force the sync. What would probably be easiest at this point is I'll make sure that the instructions of how to test the syncing and how to manually sync it will be included in the instructions and directions in the web page that we've been putting in. So if it's not already there, I'll make sure that we add it. There is a way to manually force the sync, but it is a step-by-step process, and I'm not sure we want to get involved in that right now, but I'll make sure that those instructions are on the website.
But here's the challenge, though. This is Anwar again. If you want to move to OneDrive, and not going to the sync business, because you will have issues with sync. You are trying to keep 2 different folders synced up, the versions and the messages. You know, they're just not going to be perfect. Like I said, I know I am 100% OneDrive for the last 3.5 years, 3 years.
Oh.
And that's why I work with, because once you have the time to get your PC configured, at least at work or in your laptop, to treat OneDrive as a permanent thing, you're not going to miss it. Everything is going to be in cloud. You can always access from your machine without going to the web, and elsewhere you can always get to it on the web, and down the line will tell you, you know, you can download an application and get to them on the phone, on your in your iPads and so on. So I would strongly advise not to try to do the sync, because you run into trouble and we won't be able to help you.
yeah, I tend to have less sync issues. This is Stacy again. If I stay in the browser, or if I stay on my desktop version. So if I stay in one or the other, I tend to have less issues with it. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and the last little bit of the interface I just would like to go over is some of the ways to filter and sort over here on the right side. You could actually sort by what type of file, your name, modified, modified by, and different file sizes. So that's one way how you can get the information that you need. Also, what you can do, you can view your files in a different way, just like you can on your desktop. So you have a regular list, you have a more compacted list. So if you have maybe a smaller device or something like that, maybe this would be helpful. And also in tiles. So if you're, for me, it's a little bit less strenuous trying to read all the text. And then you also have that information icon like we showed before. So I went over there, there, and there. I think that's all I have at the moment. Does anybody else have any further questions with OneDrive? Upload is to upload files. So basically, it would be upload, and then you can select your file or your folder, and then it would add it to OneDrive. And then upload you could do multiple ways. So you could either do it through upload file or folder, and then it'll add it, or you can drag it from the desktop into the OneDrive interface. So there's two ways to do the exact same thing. And then sync is where we talked about earlier, where we're going to have some instructions. Sync is, because like we talked about before, you could access OneDrive through the computer itself or through the browser. So if you put it in one area, it might not register that it's there yet. In like, let's say I put it in my computer folder, and then I go on the browser and log into OneDrive, I might not see it yet. So to sync it is just to make sure that it can be viewed in those multiple places.